Dear friends in Jesus Christ, today we are in the 19th Sunday, year C. The first reading taken from the book of Wisdom tells us that people who ignore God and the things of heaven lose many things on earth. But at the same time, people who have a good relationship with God will receive many good things on earth. The second reading from the letter to the Hebrews tells that faith is having trust and hope in God. It also gives the example of Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, and Jacob. Faith also involves in waiting patiently. The gospel of today is taken from St. Luke. It starts with the teachings of Jesus that we have to trust in the loving care and providence of God because He is in control over our lives. So we need not to fear of anything, but we have to surrender ourselves to Him. Then Jesus gives parables explaining our accountability and stewardship. These are not only referring to the second coming of Christ, but more than that, these parables refer to the time, any time when God enters into the life of a person. Thus, these parables invite us to be prepared at all time to receive the Lord in our life. The first parable is about servants who wait for the return of their master from a wedding. They are prepared and faithful in their duties. When the master returns, they are invited to participate in a great banquet. The master himself serves them. Thus, the parable teaches that the faithful servant has nothing to fear. Rather, the arrival of the master will bring him joy and blessings. Of course, the return of the master in this parable is the return of Jesus Christ, the second coming. As it poses a question, how much are we faithful and how much are we prepared to receive Him? The second parable, though it continues the same theme, speaks of a thief coming at night. If the master of the house had known at what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. A thief never announces his coming. He comes at any time when you would not have expected him to come. The way to be on guard against a thief is to live in constant readiness. In the same way, to be ready for the return of Jesus is to live in constant readiness. The third parable is an answer to the question of St. Peter. Lord, is this parable meant for us or for everyone? Then Jesus gives this parable, which addresses the Christian responsibility. The household servant is a slave who has two responsibilities. First, to supervise the works of the other slaves and make sure that they do their works rightly. Second, to provide food and other things to fulfill their needs. Thus, this household servant is accountable to both to his master as well as to the fellow slaves. The household servant in this parable thought that his master is not watching, so he ill treated the other servants and took advantage of the trust of the master. God always watches how we use the gifts and our responsibilities. God also pays attention to how we treat people. Dear friends, thus the gospel raises two important questions for our reflection. What kind of servant am I? And what kind of Christian leader am I? Let us ask these questions and reflect. God bless you all. Amen.